Morning, y'all. This is where I keep my microphone when I sleep. Welcome to day 2 of my 30 days and 30 videos posts, doing Miracle Morning, creating routine, creating structure. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why me, a 6'6" person, decided to live in a van, what inspired me and what motivated me. It is a little bit challenging sometimes as a 6'6" person. Let me just show you. I have to sleep diagonally in my bed in order to fit in. It does work. But first, I need to make a coffee, which hopefully is going to demonstrate some of the height issues. And I also need to do my Miracle Morning, the 6 things to do before you wake up. I'm going to take you along for a little bit of a longer journey on the Miracle Morning side of things, just to show you what that kind of involves. And then we're going to hit the road, go for a walk, and I'll explain to you why I chose this life. So my stance, proper wide. Look at that. I fit in like a dream. You know, I can't stand that way. There's not enough room for me to stand that way. This is what we're kind of working with, all right? Anyway, let's make a coffee. So, because I'm plugged in at the moment, because I'm on a campsite, I can actually use a kettle. 1,000-watt kettle, saves on gas. I'm plugged in at the moment on electric, so might as well. What I try and do is fill up the kettle with just the amount of water that I need for a cup of coffee, so that I'm using as little electricity as possible. Like I'm not over boiling water. It's one of my small little strategies. Also, if you're wondering what coffee I have, what coffee maker I have, it's an AeroPress. And if you're wondering what coffee I have, coffee roasted in the Highlands of Scotland, which is exactly where I am. So I'm freaking living the dream out here. You know, when you see those people making a coffee in a van, and they've got the nice aesthetic of the lovely kettle, boiling the water, there's a lovely view going on outside, all that jazz. But I do have one of them kettles. I do have a nice aesthetic looking kettle. I don't have a view at the moment. That's what we're working with, you know. But I do have the privacy of my little tent thing, which I quite like. It enables me to like leave the door open, not worry about people looking in and all that jazz. But yeah, there's nothing aesthetic about this. This is pure utility. Man needs a coffee before he starts his day, all right? So let's get that finished and then let's do our Miracle Morning. Also, are you or are you not loving my Jungle Book mug? What a beautiful thing. Love this mug. A little bit of honey in there. And that's it. Job's a good one. Oh, look at that. I can stand up tall. I do love this freaking awning thing that I bought. It's bloody godsend. Probably won't be as good in the winter, but it's all right for the summer. It's all right for these months. Got all this room for activities. I can't really put my hands up straight above me, so I can't do like, you know, things like that, but I can throw shapes left and right like a madman, you know. Right, let's get to it. Affirmations first, I reckon. My little book of affirmations. Okay. I was just reading through my affirmations and it dawned on me. I know I said I was going to do a little bit of a longer explanation of what Miracle Morning is and take you, you know, I was just basically going to film it for a little bit longer than I did yesterday. But I can do that as a video on its own, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my affirmations, how they're personal to me, how I juggle them about, take you through the meditation, basically tell you why I think Miracle Morning is a good thing to do to sort of structure and routine your life. but I don't need to do that today. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to time lapse my miracle morning. All right, that's a bit better, freshly shaven. Let's go for a walk. Hey, everybody. Day 2. We're going, we're out here, we're getting it done. 30 videos in 30 days. I'm already feeling better. Like I already feel like I've got more of a sense of direction, a sense of purpose, sense of what I'm kind of doing every day. And it's awesome, I love it. But anyway, we're not talking about that today. We are talking about why I moved into a van. Just quickly, I'm going to show you, before we get into that, these stunning views. Found a part of this walk that's like lovely. There's a little rivery thing going down there. Yeah, just awesome. So that's where I'm walking. That's a bit of a context to where I am. But yeah, why I moved into a van. So there's 3 primary reasons why I moved into a van. They kind of all overlap with one another. So sorry if I repeat myself, but let's get into it. So number 1 was travel. So I wanted to see more of what our backyard had to offer. And, you know, I was watching videos on YouTube of people doing van life, traveling, doing this, doing that. And maybe it was glorified a little bit and it's not the reality of what I've now come to face. But that was a motivation. A motivation was for me to be able to see more, bop about, and it felt like moving into a van, living in a van, would be able to do that for me. Have I ticked that box? Have I sort of done a lot more travelling? Now, I've definitely seen more of, my right arm's tired, I've definitely seen more of this country, and I've definitely done a little bit more travelling, but I haven't done as much as I thought I would have done. And I don't feel like I've seen, I don't know. It's a difficult one. Like, I definitely have done more travelling, but I haven't seen as much as I thought I would have seen. And when people talk about what they've done, or I see what people talk about, you know, there's somebody that I know that I spoke to recently who's seen absolutely shed loads, and, you know, they're a psychotherapist and they've got a job and they have a house and a dog and stuff, and they've seen more than me and they don't live in a van. So, you know, it's almost like I feel a little bit guilty for having not done more travelling and seeing more things. But equally, you know, I've got the opportunity now. I do have the van, so, you know, I can rectify that quite quickly. Now, number 2 and number 3 are a little bit overlapping in their reasoning. However, I'll try and explain it best I can. So before I moved into a van, I worked in the same town that I was kind of born in. Well, I was born in Watford, but I lived in Hemel since I was about 9, and I worked in Hemel. And I worked in the same job for nigh on 10 years. And I very much felt stuck. I felt very stuck. I didn't know what to do. You know how people talk about in life how, like, society kind of sets you up to go down a certain path, and you have your expectations of your parents or school or friends or society in terms of like how much you earn and where you are in your career at a certain point. And I just wasn't feeling satisfied at work anymore, and it didn't feel like I could just go and get another job. That felt like I was just pivoting slightly in a kind of parallel way, and it didn't feel like it was going to satiate this part of me that I needed satiated. And it was like I sort of woke up one day and I was like, whoa, how did I end up here? Who am I? What do I want? What is my life? What am I going to do? Because I didn't choose any of this, but now I'm sort of in it, and I've got a mortgage, and I'm very much like set here.
And I almost felt guilty for wanting to leave the job. I felt guilty for like, you know, all these privileges that I'd been given, and I didn't want them. You know, it's almost like a bit throwing your dollies out the pram. But it was killing me. You know, I went through a mad level of like depression and mental health issues because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what move to make. And, you know, I sat on that for a while, and I was yo-yoing back and forth. Do I stay in the job? Do I not stay in the job? Do I just try and pull through? And in the end, I ended up making the decision to move into a van. It felt like I was taking the reins of my life. And even though I might not be exactly where I want to be, one thing is for sure, the reason I'm in Scotland and the reason I've got this job is because I put in the work. You know, I put a Facebook post up trying to, you know, sell myself, so to speak, and about getting a position. And I created this life. I did this. You know, I built the van, yes, with my ex-partner, but you know, I did a lot of what came to fruition. I focused up hard. In that second year of building the van, I went ham. You know, I was going out there every single day, and I had to learn what I needed to do on YouTube because I'd never done DIY in my life. And so, just climbing a hill here, and I'm going to get out of breath. But I'm very proud of where I got to. I'm very proud that this is all something of my creation. I did this for me, and I'm here because of me. And that feels like I'm in control. Like it feels like, you know, nobody else has told me what to do. I've done this. And so there's nobody else to blame in a way as well. It's all on me. So, that was the second reason. We're on a flat now. Let me just get my breath back. All right, I've got my breath back. So, the third reason, and again, like I said, this kind of overlaps with the second, but it was almost like, kind of like what I would tell my kids, that like they can, if I had kids, they can achieve anything that they want, you can do anything that you want, you don't have to follow the status quo of like what society kind of puts down on us and says that, you know, in order to be successful, you have to have done this by this age and done this and done that, you know. And I kind of like started pondering on the question of like, what am I going to say about my life when I'm on my deathbed? Am I going to be satiated with, you know, what I've created in terms of a career path or how I want to kind of organise my life? And I guess in so many ways, that's something that I'm still working on. I'm still in the midst of that because, like it or lump it, it's about to be some quad bikers go past, so I don't know if that's going to get noisy for you guys, but I'm still working a job. Tell you what, I'll go through this field. I am still working a job. I'm still essentially living paycheck to paycheck each month. And yes, okay, I live in a van and that looks very different to, you know, a lot of people's other lives, but it feels very, very similar in terms of, you know, I don't feel like I've moved much along in that terms of, in terms of that motivation as to why I moved into a van, because it was very much about trying to create something where I was making money off of my own back, and I haven't been able to do that thus far. Although once upon a time was monetized on YouTube, and that was starting to tick along. For lots of reasons, that all came to end, you know, and I wasn't uploading videos anymore. Split up with my ex, and you know, just went through some realizations of living in the van on my own, and I wasn't in the space to create videos. So, and that's not to say that this is even going to be my career path. You know, I like doing this because it's a passion. I don't expect it to go anywhere. I started a podcast back in the day. I've always enjoyed talking to the camera, talking about ideas, talking about my experience and my journey, and documenting it. I like documenting the process. You know, it motivates me. I feel good. I feel, you know, like I say, there's nothing bad about it if already on day 2, I'm feeling like I've got more direction in my life. I'm feeling like I'm better organised. And if that's because I'm working on something that I'm passionate about, that's great. But like I said, I am in the midst of that. And that all I'm pointing to is that the third reason, partly why I moved into a van, was because I was motivated by the fact that I wanted to have a go at doing something myself and have a go at creating my own reality. And yes, okay, I now have succeeded in building the van, living in the van, doing a different sort of life course to what other people do. And I'm very proud of myself, of the fact that I've taken the reins of my life and I'm in control of it. But equally, the third prong is that I want to build something, whether it's a community, whether it's a career, whether I end up going in a completely different direction because of somebody that I meet or something that I do, or I might end up starting a business. I really don't know. But I'm in the midst of figuring that out. I'm trying to get that done. I'm trying to do different things, meet different people, organise my life in such a way where those opportunities come and where I'm in a state of mind to take those opportunities. And that's what this is all about. That's what these videos are all about. That's what I feel like when I say I'm in the midst of it, it's because I haven't quite got that routine and that discipline and that structure sorted. I haven't quite got to the point where I'm motivated every day to stay the course with my passion, stay the course with my interests, to keep my mindset, agile enough to be able to spot these opportunities and act on them, and just go with that flow. And I've struggled with that. I have struggled with that. Certainly in the last 12 months, I've absolutely just not been organising my life in any way, and I've wasted a great many hours, watching stupid things on TV, or just, not getting on with what I should be getting on with. And it does, I'm not going to give myself too hard a time, because we go through phases in life and things happen, and, you deal with it with the tools that you've got available to you. And we've all got different emotional capabilities. We've all got different abilities to be able to do X, Y, and Z. But I just did get sick of it. I was getting sick of the fact that I was letting myself down. And habits don't happen overnight, but you've got to start somewhere, and this is me starting somewhere. So those are the three kind of reasons as to why I moved into a van. I very much hope that you have, because I've never spoken about this. I've never spoken about what was the actual motivation for you moving into a van. And I think I didn't want to do what I was doing. I didn't want to do the status quo, like the what could be constituted as normal. And I don't want to tread on anyone's toes saying that, because I know that a lot of people, and I for one, have come to appreciate more the kind of safety that exists with having a job. Like, nobody is telling me to get up in the morning and get on with stuff and do this and do that. When I had a job, I kind of just went and did it because I knew I needed to turn up in order to get paid. And there's a lot to be said about anybody that's self-employed. They've got to motivate themselves to get out of bed and go and do whatever it is that they do. And it can be hard because nobody's there telling you what to do. Nobody's saying be here at this time. And having an amount of money that you're going to get at the end of every month that you can sort of allocate to this and that, there's a lot to be said about that. So I'm not knocking it. I think it's and I think a lot of people as well, they find careers that they actually enjoy, and they actually enjoy going into work, and it serves as a community, and you get to know people at work, friends and things like that. And I very much, when I moved to the Yorkshire Dales and got a job there, I came to realise how much I enjoyed that community aspect, and how much I enjoyed having sort of colleagues and people that you could talk to each day and go and hang out with in the evenings or whatever. It was really nice. It was really nice. So I'm not knocking it, but I didn't want to do that anymore. But I do notice that I want community and I want to socialise more. I live in Scotland, so I'm miles away from any of my friends. One of my best mates lives in Brighton, another one lives in Norfolk, another one lives in Ireland. We're all over the shop. So actually two live in Brighton. And I don't speak to them nearly as much as I should, but I think that's life for you, isn't it? You don't drift apart, but life happens. One of my mates got 2 kids now, and he's married, and it's just life happens. Life gets in the way, but I hope that you have enjoyed this video of me rambling. I got a bit rambly towards the end there, but 15 minutes, that'll do. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm thinking tomorrow's video is going to be about just starting. Just start. Don't know why, but that might be what tomorrow's video is. I might change it. I might absolutely keep you guessing and go and talk about something completely different to what I've just come up with there. But that's what's been knocking around in my head, mostly because like I'm on day 2 and I feel better and I'm like, why didn't I just start earlier? There you go. You start when you start, right? So yeah, if you're new here and you want to carry on following on this journey, this is day 2 of 30 days of videos that I'm doing every day for the month of August, talking about this and that, but mostly getting myself into some kind of routine and discipline and documenting the journey as I go along it. So if you're into that, give us a like and a subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for day 3. Over and out. Oh, one more thing, because I have paid reference or referenced my height when I moved into the van. I was concerned about my height. Obviously I've got the side flares, sleeping pods, so I can sleep pretty comfortably. But it has been a little bit challenging in terms of my height, like living in a van. That wasn't a reason as to why I moved into the van. Oh, I have acres of room. No, it is a challenge sometimes. I mostly get on with it fine. I sit down, you know, go on my laptop. If I want to stretch, then I just go outside. But the motivation outweighed the fear that I had. Sort of those 3 reasons that I just told you, they were more powerful than my worry about being 6'6" and living in a van. It comes with its issues, but it's no different to people that live in, you know, T5 transporter type campers. I think they're called transporters, or T5s, T4s, T6s. You know, you can't stand up straight in them even if you're 5 foot tall. So it's no different to that. You kind of get on with it, you live with it, and you make do. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly reference that. But anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. All right, peace out. Bye, bye, bye.